Well, it's time for another edition of this year's best, worst,
That is a disgusting act.
What the are we doing out here? I ask you.
and most shocking moments of 2025. So let's dive in. The year started out with a light heavyweight grudge match between the undefeated David Benavidez and David Morrell. Both guys had built their reputations as destroyers in the super middleweight division, but in 2024, their light heavyweight journeys got off to rocky starts as Benavidez failed to match his past intensity when he decisioned an old Alexander Gvozdyk. Morrell, for his part, had looked shaky against Radishvosh Kalashnik. This had been a bad look for both men, considering that Artur Beterbiev, the undisputed light heavyweight champion, had stopped Kalashnik, as well as a younger version of Gvozdyk. Benavidez, despite his entertaining style, failed to transcend the sport. Maybe his indecision had something to do with it. He didn't know whether he wanted to be a super middleweight or a light heavyweight. He constantly changed his nickname, first from the Red Flag to the Mexican Monster, then to the Monster, before finally returning to the Mexican Monster. Morrell, an undefeated Cuban, had no such confusion about what he thought of Benavidez' skills, saying, "He's a great puncher with a lot of heart, but he doesn't have the skills that I possess." Benavidez, however, was more experienced than Morrell and was one of the best pressure fighters in the higher weights. But the Cuban appeared to think he would simply tee off and circle around his pressure-fighting foe, even going as far as calling Benavidez Robocop.
As you're calling him Robocop, why are you calling him like that?
Morrell's promoter, Luis de Cuba Sr., shared his fighter's sentiment as he stated, "I'm very confident in this fight. The guy, Benavidez, is made to order for Morrell. He comes forward. He's not bad defensively, but he's not hard to hit." De Cuba Sr. also said Benavidez had never fought anyone. A bizarre thing to say, since Morrell's only solid win was against Kalashnik. Either way, the tension began as soon as both Benavidez and Morrell faced off.
He went up there and tried to shake your hand and you didn't want to do it.
This guy every time he's talking shit, so it's okay.
The best part was the Cuba Sr. rushing Benavidez, expecting someone to block him, only for him to be left completely exposed. In the press conference, things intensified between the two teams, with Benavidez going at it with the Cuba Sr.
Now we're dressing. We wanted to fight you for the last 3 years. What are you talking about?
Guys, this is it. This is it. That's it, guys. Thank you so much.
And the trash talking continued in the second and third press conferences.
You don't have power for this.
You don't have. I don't have power for this. I don't have power. No, I don't have power.
Not for this. Man, you're a stupid shit.
You know what? These are, like I said, these are the type of fighters I want people that are
Stupid.
And look, now this guy's nervous. I'm gonna beat the out of you, and I hope you don't have no excuses.
What do you mean, bro? I mean, this name, the monster, is bullshit. Really bullshit.
And once again, Benavidez and the Cuba Sr. went at it.
I want to thank this guy here for taking the shot. He had the balls to step up, which I gotta give him credit for.
That's some big balls.
Yeah, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find that out on Saturday night. I'm gonna find out if you got a chin. That's what I gotta find out. If you got a chin. If you can hold this guy's punching power, okay, for 12 rounds, I don't know anything about boxing.
You're nervous. You're nervous. You're nervous.
I'm nervous? I've been in this rodeo for 40 years.
Rodeo? What is that accent, by the way? The guy's Cuban and yet he sounds like he's from Kentucky.
Hey, you're fucking spitting.
A lot bigger fight.
A few years ago, Tank Davis had reacted violently to Bernard Hopkins touching him before a bout. Davis said he'd been fearful that Hopkins could potentially rub a PED cream on his skin to trigger a positive test result. Similarly, by slobbering all over Benavidez, was the Cubas trying to infect his foe? If so, you gotta give credit for ingenuity.
Keep your saliva in your mouth.
You're the scary. You can see you're all scared, man. I can see in your eyes.
Cocksucker.
On February the 1st, the fight took place. And the interesting factors involved Benavidez fighting someone who was just as big as he was, but who also possessed superior one-punch power. Would Benavidez get through his hard-hitting foe?
You protect yourselves at all times. Those are my commands. Touch him up. David, touch him up.
In the first round, Benavidez skipped his customary slow start.
That footwork, the body changing levels, good defense. And of course, Benavidez, already also known for his underrated defense, loves to be in close square off that high guard. But now Benavidez sitting down on his punches.
Morrell fired his shots, but they mostly proved ineffective against Benavidez' guard. The Cuban tried countering, which usually doesn't work against Benavidez.
There too, because yes, he squares up in front of you, but Benavidez is right in front of you because he's got underrated defense in close, able to use that high guard to parry, block, and freeze.
The trick is to punch with him.
I believe everything's to keep weapon down.
Look at this action.
And in the fourth round, the tactic worked.
High guard, get in there.
He did get clipped!
But this proved a momentary gaffe, and Morrell failed to capitalize. Benavidez continued outworking Morrell, with the Cuban landing the occasional shot.
And now Benavidez on the ropes again. You don't want to be on the back foot more than we have ever seen him thus far in his career. Using the angles to escape out of the line of fire. He is stuck in right now. Yeah, the left hook, the guard proving to be porous. That left backs him up. And there's another left uppercut. Morrell needs to find a way to slow Benavidez down. Now Morrell fighting back.
It soon became clear, though, that Morrell could take Benavidez' best shots, and he was content with taking barrages before desperately trying to counter.
But the volume is starting to really pick up round by round for Benavidez.
And you look at Morrell, how much resistance here as he eats these body shots, the uppercuts.
In the 11th, Morrell received a lifeline.
High output fight that we used to see. Whoa, the knockdown!
But then Morrell ruined it.
Benavidez looking to make it bigger. And the point is being deducted just like that.
Morrell opened up in the final round, but couldn't do much against Benavidez' defense.
It's all or nothing for Morrell.
Right hand to the body by Benavidez, and he rocks Morrell with the left. He left. Uppercut lands again for Benavidez. Morrell misses with the right. Morrell needs to open the floodgates.
In the end, Benavidez earned a unanimous decision win, and both fighters made amends. Unfortunately, that didn't include Luis de Cuba Sr., and no amount of PR people could hold the Kentucky Cuban back.
So, congrats to both for taking this fight.
What'd you say?
And congrats.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you, bro. I'm gonna slap the out of you. You better come on and do it, baby. Come on and do it.
Obviously, Benavidez could beat the Cubas in a fistfight, but could he contend with the old man's toxic saliva, or as the Cubas calls it, the 5 deadly venoms? Still, it had been another win for Benavidez, who is still looking for a major fight. Will 2026 be his year? A week later, perennial heavyweight contender Derek Chisora, now in his 40s, took on Otto Wallin. Chisora, now on a 2-fight winning streak since losing 4 of his last 5 bouts, was looking for one last shot at the championship. But the southpaw Wallin, younger by at least 6 years, aimed to retire the tenacious journeyman. Here's how the action unfolded from Manchester, England.
Boxing royalty all around, but so much for the sentiment. Time to go to work, time to go to war, potentially for the last time.
Like a famished bear, Chisora mauled Wallin.
His technique, his overall athletic ability, that sheer determination can take a man a long, long way. Chisora pours it on as he promised that he would do. Right from the very first second of this fight, I am not going to let this kid settle.
Wallin scored with shots, but they were more like taps compared to Chisora's punches.
I don't think there was a lot coming back from Wallin. Wallin now sensibly just he's keeping a tight guard.
And the pro-Chisora crowd reacted to every shot their man landed.
Swarming all over his man. Like a positives from it, Richie. He rebuilds. The big right hand. Oh, good shot. Wallin carries no threat whatsoever. That right hand flicked off the top of the head.
As Chisora tired, Wallin put more pop into his shots, but it was a bad look for Wallin to continually end up on the ropes and allowing Chisora to batter his body.
Wallin's going to need something different, Richie, I think.
Yeah, it's just a lack of concentration from Wallin also. Earlier, he just had Chisora in the centre of the ring and was boxing well.
And even while cut, Chisora failed to slow down.
The first half of this fight tonight. Get to really re-establish himself.
He's in 12-round professional Derek Chisora and really going for it here.
Finishing around strong. A spectacular show late on in this
things got worse for Wallin in the night.
The only person who seems oblivious to it is Chisora, and Wallin backs away into the corner.
With a big shot, Chisora literally sent Wallin flying. It appeared as if Wallin needed something dramatic to avoid a loss, but he was content to let the fight slip. I mean, look at this clip right here. He has Chisora on the ropes, and then he backs off all the way to the middle of the ring. Anyway, maybe that's the best he could do, and Chisora simply would not be denied.
12-round throw, as I've said. So it's a case of boxing in birth to where they should be. And yes, good punch there from Chisora. And Wallin keeps falling for it. Back into the corner again.
That he tells us that he loves to deliver in the ring. Some really measured boxing as well. So accurate, so determined. Wallin touches down again. He'll probably get up. Right on the bell.
In the end, Chisora kept his career alive with a 12-round unanimous decision. Will he surprise us again in 2026? The month of February saw high strangeness abound as Floyd Schofield Jr., a lightweight prospect with lightning-quick hands, looked ahead to an even more thunderous 2025. And the future looked bright.
And the power and the combinations will come from everywhere.
With some solid performances behind him and promoted by one of the best outfits in boxing, Schofield Jr. seemed to be on the fast track to stardom. The fact that he was a down-to-earth person also helped. But the same was difficult to say about his father and trainer, Floyd Schofield Sr. In the past, Schofield Sr. had sabotaged interviews, making it all about him.
Oh, hell no. He said,
Come on now.
Sit down, Pop. Sit down.
I'll wait for you. This is what we do. He's a third generation. Hold on.
But it's not just Schofield Sr.'s attention-seeking ways that rub people the wrong way. It's the things he says as well.
For real though, like it feels like I haven't fought. It's weird. I can't process it.
That's that hypnotizing, Sean. That's that good hypnotizing we did to him. I've been told y'all when Floyd go in that ring, it ain't Floyd in that ring. It's a spirit from us hypnotizing him since he was a kid. To have him, when he go in that ring, he black out. He's not in there. Hypnotizing matters.
But though he could brainwash his son with his MK Ultra tactics, Schofield Sr. couldn't wash away the clip that surfaced on the internet. Despite the family hijinks, Schofield Jr. took a big step up in competition when he signed to fight undefeated lightweight contender Shakur Stevenson. Stevenson, notorious for promising to deliver beatings, only to deliver uneventful bouts, was quick to trash talk when Schofield thanked him for taking the fight. Yeah, motherfucker, let's see what you're on now. You don't talk your way into a belt to ass. Stevenson also went after Schofield Sr., saying, "You can't fight for him either, old man. I'm gonna show you why you don't send children on a grown man's mission." Meanwhile, Schofield Jr. remained classy.
You were doing an interview and my cameraman told me that Shakur walked by and he gave you the finger. You saw that?
Yeah. I definitely saw. I just stuck my tongue out. Because, I mean, I don't stoop to that level. I'm not that type of person, you know. I'm not the one to be, you know, act a ghetto around public and whatnot, so.
But it was his father and trainer who went on the offensive.
Because we gonna f him up. Y'all can believe whatever y'all want. When we break his nose and his jaw, his ass is done.
Schofield Sr. would also accuse the WBC organization of suddenly imposing a dehydration clause.
Y'all know fight night, we supposed to fight 148.5. That's the rule they said. Where was those WBC weighing regulations and rules when Devin Haney was fighting?
But things got stranger when the Schofields missed the Stevenson press conference. Schofield Sr. would later claim someone had stolen his passport.
I can't say Shakur's scared, but I know he worried. Because who paid people in your camp to steal passports?
But that wasn't all, he alleged.
3 o'clock in the morning, the whole SWAT team out there with lights calling our name, and then they search the house, everything else, and they tell us somebody from out of town called and said you're harboring kids and it's the address.
Theoretically, the claim sounded plausible, seeing as how Stevenson's manager, the notorious James Prince, had long been associated with shady dealings. Still, without evidence, it was imprudent to make such allegations. Then, during fight week, the Stevenson-Schofield Jr. bout was suddenly cancelled. Footage later surfaced of Schofield Jr. lying sickly in a hospital bed. Shakur Stevenson would later claim he'd expected Schofield to pull out. However, the drama didn't end there, as Schofield Sr. went on to make a series of cryptic accusations. In one tweet, Schofield Sr. claimed a masseuse had smeared a noxious chemical on his son. Another tweet showed an anonymous source warning Schofield about poisoning tactics. But fearing lawsuits, the Schofields retracted their statements. Stevenson ended up fighting a late replacement and part-time electrician in Josh Padley and needed 9 rounds to stop him. Meanwhile, months after the failed fight, Schofield Jr. refused to further address the situation. Later, however, Jr. and his father modified their statements.
Really, we're not even supposed to talk about it legally, really. It's a lot, but he was poisoned. It just flat out is what it is. They tried to say it was some mushrooms that was put in his room service thing, but the toxicology report says differently. We didn't pull out of the fight. They said we couldn't fight because he was administered in the hospital for 2 days.
What happened in camp?
There was just some people that we brought in that we shouldn't have brought in. No, I'm not gonna say.
Now you can't say that, because people got lawyers.
Yeah, I'm not.
Why are you so sure that he was poisoned?
Because toxicology reports say.
Can you tell us what the toxicology report said?
Not right now because of the legal thing. That's why we leave the topic alone, because they got power. They showed us they could touch us just like that. So why we want to battle with folk like that?
As of December 2025, the Schofields have yet to reveal further information. Months after the cancelled bout, Schofield ended up delivering a career-best performance by stopping veteran Tevin Farmer in 1 round. Stevenson, for his part, has said he would never give Schofield an opportunity again. But if Schofield continues delivering results, such as the Farmer stoppage, then perhaps he'll give Stevenson no choice but to face him. On the same card, top middleweight contender Carlos Adames took on the undefeated Hamzah Sheeraz. The bout would decide the #1 middleweight in the world. Standing at 6 feet 3 inches tall, Sheeraz had garnered a reputation for being a lanky puncher, akin to Thomas Hearns.
Perform. And Sheeraz is looking electric.
Do well to get through this round. Oh, what a down he goes.
Superstar. Absolute superstar.
Adames, for his part, was on a 6-fight winning streak since his close loss to Patrick Teixeira in 2019, and was unimpressed by Sheeraz, stating, "The only big advantage that he has is his height. In terms of his boxing skills, he isn't really that impressive to me." Here's how the action unfolded.
Is the timing right for Hamzah Sheeraz?
The fight got off to a slow start, with Sheeraz boxing from afar.
It's smart for Sheeraz to keep that jab coming out. Raise and shout. It's got to come out as fast as he can back.
It seemed as if Sheeraz was doing enough to outbox Adames, without necessarily dominating.
More queens breathe that night.
Good jabbing from Sheeraz.
Boxing smartly here. He's not wasting anything. He's all getting greedy. He's yet to roll the dice.
Stacked. Chili Jack.
In the 5th, Adames got a little bit closer and began having success. Thereafter, Adames managed to pin Sheeraz down and found success, particularly with stabbing body shots.
Body shots.
More success. Shot.
Lovely work whipping in these body shots, Carlos Adames. And whipping those in. Adames looking strong.
Sheeraz continued landing jabs, but it seemed as if Adames was landing the harder shots. In the later rounds, Sheeraz seemed depleted, no longer as spry as he was in the early rounds.
But has he just not had that acid test before this one? Is it come a bit too soon?
He's not fighting back at all.
And the warrior looks over the other side of the ring. His Excellency, who has Hamzah Sheeraz as an ambassador.
Still, Sheeraz fought hard in the championship rounds.
That happen, that allows Girona any kind of offense. Adames now to do a massive hit.
3 minutes left. He won early round, Sheeraz. Box well. And Carlos Adames just 2 seasons. Beautiful combinations. Carlos Adames.
In the end, the fight was declared a controversial draw. Looking back, it's possible to give Sheeraz the first 5 rounds. If you give him one more thereafter, a draw doesn't seem so crazy. But it is interesting that he was moving so well early on, before suddenly becoming stationary. Did he tire in the second half of the bout? Was this due to having to make weight? Or did Adames deserve more credit for adjusting in the middle of the fight? After all, Sheeraz did slow down as soon as Adames began working the body. According to punch stats, Adames landed 143 out of 509 shots. Sheeraz, meanwhile, landed 135 out of 490 shots. He also landed more jabs than Adames. So the total connect numbers weren't that wide, and maybe the judges liked Sheeraz's constant jab. However, rewatching the fight, Adames did appear to land the harder shots, something to consider, seeing as how he outlanded Sheeraz. Another point of contention was Turki Al-Sheikh's obvious bias towards Sheeraz during the bout. Many pointed to their shared religion as being the motivating factor behind Al-Sheikh's agitation. Whatever the reason, the Sheikh was seen running to Sheeraz's corner sometime during the championship rounds, egging the fighter on. Later, fans located images of the Sheikh signaling to Sheeraz about the specific number of points the fighter needed to edge the bout. Speculation centered on whether the Sheikh was basing his opinion off the official scorecards or some unofficial ones, though that was never settled. But should the event's financial benefactor be openly biased towards certain fighters? This question applied to the first Beterbiev-Bivol fight and would later apply to the Canelo-Crawford megabout. In the end, the controversial fight demanded a rematch, but Sheeraz moved to 168 pounds, leaving matters unresolved. Sheeraz would later claim he'd been weakened by making weight, as well as being hindered by an injured left hand. This might have been true, but Sheeraz also left his trainer Ricky Funes and hired trainer Andy Lee. For many, the avoidance of a rematch and the switching of trainers was a tacit admission of defeat. However, 2025 would provide room for redemption. On that same card, undefeated junior middleweight contender Vergil Ortiz took on once-beaten Israil Madrimov in a fight between two big punchers.
Are just thudding. He is another right hand and landed. Another right hand. Herrera's out. Herrera's out. It's over. That's the thing about Velasquez.
Fantastic shot. And look at this, Madrimov. They're going to stop it.
Madrimov was coming off a close decision defeat against Terence Crawford, whereas Ortiz was coming off an even more controversial win against Sergey Boychuk, a battle in which the Ukrainian twice dropped Ortiz. Both men had plenty to prove, with the winner potentially becoming the #1 junior middleweight in the world.
Promotionally, maybe this is the sleeper on this supreme night of 50-50 fights.
From the start, Ortiz backed up Madrimov, whose plan was obviously to catch him coming in. Ortiz fired shotgun jabs and landed the cleaner shots.
I punted the gate about the solid jab here of Vergil Ortiz.
And you can see the battle lines drawn already. Ortiz, the stalker, the hunter, and Madrimov just looking to dance his way around, confuse the Texan.
And with a good jab there, though, Ortiz. He's got Madrimov square when he was going to throw that right hand.
Madrimov let his hands go, but Ortiz appeared to block most of the blows. Still, Ortiz had to be careful, as Madrimov was a sharp counterpuncher. It was a competitive fight, but in the 6th round, Ortiz stepped up the pace.
Himself that he could compete at the highest of level. Good body shot from Ortiz Jr. And he felt that Madrimov just left him to deliver.
The movement before his head to span around with it, so he couldn't fight again. Again, bit of life in the legs here for Madrimov.
Yeah, but he really needs a good run. It's been a good rally.
With Manix's unofficial scorecard still close, Ortiz turned on the afterburners.
To land those shots to the body as he does there.
Chest, step up, right hand on the top, good shot.
Good body shot. Madrimov felt that a little bit.
But he threw that body, that jab to the body.
Ortiz Jr. body shot.
Madrimov replied with his own shots, but Ortiz's tight defense and superior accuracy continued to trouble him.
Madrimov, the
Madrimov fought hard in the 12th.
Good effort here from Madrimov, but Ortiz's
noise of that shot echoing around the arena. You can feel it from ringside.
In the end, Ortiz walked off with a hard-earned unanimous decision. Punch stats showed that Madrimov had landed plenty of his own shots, but Ortiz had surpassed him throughout most of the rounds. After the bout, a big point of discussion was whether Ortiz had surpassed Crawford's performance against Madrimov. Some disagreed, pointing to Ortiz's damaged face after the bout as evidence. But Ortiz had employed a high guard to walk down Madrimov, and usually, such a tactic, especially against power punchers, will cause the gloves' laces to scratch the defending boxer's face. Moreover, Madrimov landed plenty of headbutts.
I can tell his hands go. So just knocks it.
Of Madrimov, he's going to the eye to the body. Madrimov, he's really trying to push back, but the referee
Overall, Ortiz's ability to pressure an agile power puncher without getting visibly hurt had been impressive, and had certainly left no doubt that he'd been in charge. Had Ortiz's performance against Madrimov surpassed Crawford's? As springtime neared, Gervonta Tank Davis tried to revive his career. After stopping the undefeated Ryan Garcia in 2023, Tank found himself in the midst of Tank Mania, with his fans claiming he was the face of boxing.
I'm going to be the face of boxing. Are you now?
I'm definitely the face of boxing. Absolutely.
Still, after that Garcia win, Davis was forced to do a little time in the joint. Thankfully, he had plenty of support.
Free my motherfucking me. Free my nigga. Free my nigga. Free my nigga. Free my baby.
He returned in 2024 and stopped contender Frank Martin. But that remained his only fight in 12 months. Finally, he returned in March of 2025. Fans wanted him to fight Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, or Vasil Lomachenko, but those fights failed to materialize. And so, Tank took on super featherweight titleist Lamont Roach Jr. Many fans criticized Davis for dragging yet another fighter up to 135 pounds. However, Roach Jr. had improved his defense and offense since his only loss, which had taken place in 2018. Still, we'd seen other fighters give Davis tough fights before they eventually crumbled under his power. Would Roach Jr. go the same way? Here's how the fight went down.
Steve Willis, referee for Gervonta Davis, master of that science. But for Lamont Roach, he knows that when it comes to beating Davis, it's not about just skill. It's about flawless execution under constant pressure.
Roach stood in front of the puncher and usually initiated the action.
IQ right now from Roach. We know he's really smart.
And Roach stayed composed whenever Tank countered. But the action was scarce, to the point in which the commentators were forced to talk about Tank Davis's shoes.
How about those shoes on Tank, by the way? You could put on your makeup in the reflection of that more.
Tank landed some punches, but he also did a lot of posturing, like running, wrestling, communicating with the crowd, and arguing with the referee.
Ooh, there's that right hand again from Roach.
And the action intensified in the 5th round.
Final 60 seconds. Lead left hand. Remember what I did to you when we were teenagers? And there it is. Series of left hands. And now Roach is talking back. Oh.
But Tank continued the theatrics, including fouling and complaining about body shots. The action intensified in the second half.
Because the words are being thrown at each other. Let's see if the punches start being thrown. And yes, they do. There's Davis, lands a left.
See why he's not letting his punches go.
Trying to come forward, but unable to launch an attack. And now the pressure and the punches from Davis. Roach to the body and then to the head. Right in the hand. So good success here for Roach in round 7. Solid shot there, Davis. Oh, there's a right hook to the body by Davis. Ripping that right hand. And then
Tank loaded up on some shots, but Roach always replied, and he continued being the aggressor. Tank also did a lot of clinching. The fight's highlight took place in the 9th round.
Left. Oh, and that right, but Davis took off some of the steam of the punch, but still, Roach leaned with right.
He took a knee.
He took a knee.
After absorbing a punch, Tank took a knee and then ran to his corner to have his face wiped. Referee Steve Willis, notorious for his animated expressions, should have followed the rules and scored that as a knockdown, and he should have prevented Tank from interacting with his team without official permission during an active round. But Willis decided to do it another way.
It's wrong, he took a knee.
That's a knockdown!
That's a generous call from the...
The action intensified, but Roach didn't go anywhere.
Right uppercut on the inside, combinations from Roach.
He took hard shots and gave them back twofold. He never crumbled. Tank, meanwhile, continued clinching and arguing with the ref. The last 2 rounds proved highly entertaining.
That's it the other way. Lamont Roach Jr.
That's a tremendous stat, and oh, by the way...
Preston here. Oh, another right hand, another right left by Roach. Madrimov.
Does he have a right hand? And talking to Tank.
And a shot, and another left hook upstairs, right hand.
Surprisingly, the bout was ruled a draw. According to punch stats, Roach had outlanded Davis in most of the rounds, though not by substantial margins. Minutes after the final bell, Tank was ready to explain his 9th round shenanigans.
I just got my hair done 2 days ago and she picked grease in my shit, so the shit was like, you know, like when you sweating and things like that and the grease come in my face. Damn, why y'all booing like I'm saying bullshit?
Later, the alleged hairdresser retorted online, refuting the allegation that she'd smeared grease on Tank's hair. Roach's team appealed the decision, correctly stating that Tank had not only taken a knee after absorbing a blow, but that he'd also interacted with his corner without the referee's consent. Ultimately, the New York State Athletic Commission refused to alter the decision. Some fans tried to place the blame on Roach Jr., criticizing him for complaining about the results. But they forgot that none of it would have happened had Davis not taken a knee and then ran to his corner for help. Referee Steve Willis was also heavily criticized for his 2 gaffes. Months later, a video surfaced of Willis refusing to talk about the bout.
What you was thinking when Tank did that when he took the knee? What you was thinking when he took the knee? I can't speak on that. Can't speak on that? Yeah. He did some bullshit though? I can't speak on that. No personal opinion, nothing? Yeah.
In another video, Willis lamented his career status.
For me, it was an honest mistake, but hey, you have 8 months later with that fight.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I don't know what it's, you know, I just have to be patient and wait for this to die down. I might be working some other places down the road and stuff like that, just to offshoot this kind of thing.
In the end, Tank avoided a rematch, signing instead for a gimmick November fight against social media star Jake Paul. Roach, meanwhile, signed to fight Isaac Cruz. Surprisingly, the Jake Paul fight failed to sell well at the gate, and explosive new allegations of abuse from Tank Davis provided Paul with the perfect opportunity to cancel the bout. It seems as if Davis is not a bigger star as some claimed, but he can always change that by fighting and beating the best. Will Tank manage to fulfill his potential? Coming into 2025, the undefeated welterweight Jaron Ennis was heavily criticized for rejecting a series of compelling fights. Therefore, it was crucial for him to perform well against the unbeaten Eimantas Stanionis. Stanionis had only fought once in 2 years, but he was a strong, hungry, and well-conditioned contender. But Ennis' size advantage remained a pressing issue. For years, Ennis went around looking like a super middleweight. In fact, he'd claimed that making weight had led to his bad performance against Karen Chukadze.
My performance was okay. I don't know, man. I think it might be time to go to 54, yo.
Now, suddenly, he wanted one more fight at welterweight. Despite the weight issues, both guys possess aggressive styles, so the chances for an exciting outing remain high. Moreover, at stake was the coveted Ring Magazine Championship. Here's how the fight transpired.
Dare we expect another thriller? This is for the unified welterweight championship of the world.
Ennis started boxing from long range, trying to use his superior length.
See moves early on, aiming a little bit for that midsection. That's the one area that's open in this sort of shell defense that Stanionis fights in.
But Stanionis managed to connect.
That's right. Oh, nice counter left from Stanionis. Switching taller, 6-inch reach advantage. Nice left from Stanionis.
The problem for Stanionis wasn't only that Ennis was faster, but also the bigger man, something which the commentators failed to miss.
And crisp
Boots looks bigger, doesn't he?
Yeah, he looks like he's rehydrated really well.
Ennis flashes hand speed, but Stanionis remained competitive.
Criticism for Boots in his last fight is that he was getting hit too often and too cleanly.
And Ennis, feeling the pace, began to clinch. Ennis would suddenly start moving, but doing so gave Stanionis momentum to score. Contrary to popular opinion, the smart tactic for Ennis was to trade with Stanionis, as his foe failed to match his firepower.
Good right hand from Stanionis. He's getting his shots in, Chris. It's just not nearly the same power that Ennis has on his.
Moreover, with Ennis's heavy ordnance, he could bust through Stanionis' high guard, and that's exactly what happened.
There's that uppercut. Stanionis blocking it, seemingly doing some damage back. No! Boots coming on here as Stanionis covers up.
Ennis continued getting hit in the sixth, but he took the shots well.
And look, those body shots right there. That's Stanionis' kryptonite, I believe. Yeah, he's shrinking, and now Boots teeing up with a left uppercut, and down goes Stanionis. He softened him up to the body. And they're going to wave it off. They have waved it off.
In the end, Ennis walked away the winner, but soon vacated the belt for a much-needed move to 154 pounds. On the one hand, it would have been great to see him defend his title. However, months later, Ennis would spar super middleweight champion Saul Canelo Alvarez, and the supposed welterweight ended up looking like the bigger man. So a move up in weight was unsurprising. Besides, the welterweight division is a wasteland, and it's better to see Ennis in the jam-packed junior middleweight division than to see him reign in a subpar one. Can he become the junior middleweight champion? In 2024, undefeated light heavyweight contender Benjamin Whittaker fell on some hard times. After a tremendous amateur career that saw him medal silver at the 2020 Olympics, the Brit gained notoriety for taunting overmatched opponents.
And he's showboating within 30 seconds of his debut, Tash. Whittaker playing to the crowd, the razzle-dazzle. You're going to love him, you're going to hate him, you're going to watch him.
And fans and foes took an immediate dislike to him, but it was undeniable that he possessed the reflexes and instincts required to outclass lower-level opposition. But in October 2024, Whittaker struggled against Liam Cameron.
A couple of occasions. Back right hand with that. Made him work. Good variation-ish. Yeah, to me. Ben Whittaker just half stunned it. Oh! That is not what we want. Over the top rope.
The fight was ruled a technical draw after hijinks gone awry. Many speculated that Whittaker had looked for a way out. In April 2025, a rematch was set, and the animosity between the two fighters remained unperturbed.
I say he's more emotionally attached to it than I am.
I'm definitely
which
not,
he should
honestly.
be. He turned up his best. I turned up my worst, and he still really couldn't do much. Just holding me, trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do, to be honest, trying to grope me and stuff.
I was holding you.
Groping
like
me and rubbing up on me.
Whoa.
He was like he was a distant lover or something, man.
On fight night, Whittaker fired with more conviction.
So here we go, 10 rounds of fewer. I'm waiting for that. Big.
But he was soon backing up again, which gave Cameron momentum.
The tempo that he does bring is consistent. That's a good round from Cameron.
In the second, Whittaker continued sitting down on his shots, but by the round's second half, Whittaker began retreating again. It was clear that he needed to hold the center of the ring. Could he do it?
Important thing for Cameron. Oh, that's a great right hand. Chase there from Whittaker. He's rocked here, Cameron. He's in big trouble here. The referee is having a close look. His legs are not steady. He's sitting down on the ropes. Cameron has been stopped here. Jumped in and stopped the fight.
Whittaker emerged victorious, though his reputation was once again tarnished due to his post-fight antics. The replay video suggested he'd spat at Cameron's trainers. Whittaker would later deny the allegations by claiming that he'd roared and had accidentally spilled saliva on them. Maybe he'd taken a page out of the Decubas handbook and had tried to infect his enemies. The ruckus led to a discussion about whether Whittaker was a sore winner.
frustration because of what this young man's gone through the last few months. He's been vilified, he's been chastised, everything's gone to him. He shouted like, I've done it. Frustration, Dave. What is it to say, you know what? I'm not washed up, I'm not rubbish. Everything you're saying about me is complete rubbish and in your face. This is what this young man's doing.
You know as well as me how much of a good guy Grant Smith is. Yeah. Such a good man, such a good team, family. He don't deserve that. He don't deserve that.
But you know what? Straight after, this is how bad it was. If it was that bad, he went up, hugged him, he hugged Grant Smith afterwards.
It seems as if former cruiserweight boxer Johnny Nelson was explaining Whittaker's actions and not necessarily justifying them. But plenty of fighters are emotional going into fights, and they don't react that way after victories. Ultimately, Whittaker will probably continue to play the bad guy, though it's gonna be difficult buying that act if he keeps crying on camera.
I knew I should be doing that to people like Liam Cameron, no disrespect, you know, little things.
Still, Whittaker is an exciting fighter in an otherwise boring division, and time will tell whether he can indeed add some pizzazz to it, just as long as he can keep his saliva in his mouth. In a much-anticipated fight, at least by UK standards, Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, sons of Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn respectively, continued their father's rivalry. In the 1990s, Nigel and Chris had engaged in two bitter wars, ending in one win for Eubank and a contentious draw. Now, their progeny readied themselves to settle family business. Initially, the fight had been slated for 2022. Many scoffed at the bout, seeing as how Conor Benn was a welterweight, and a small one at that, whereas Eubank Jr. was a natural super middleweight. The circus grew more ridiculous when Benn tested positive for an illegal PED, a result which ultimately cancelled the fight. On the third, Benn fought overseas and scored 2 decision wins. Eubank Jr., for his part, ended up getting stopped by Liam Smith. It seemed as if the British dream fight had been lost, but fortune struck. Eubank Jr. scored his revenge over Smith in 2023, scoring a 10th round stoppage. And in 2024, Benn cleared his name with the British Boxing Board of Control. The culprit behind the positive test result had apparently been an overconsumption of eggs. Many fans failed to buy the explanation and dubbed the boxer Conor Egg. Even Domino's Pizza joined the fun. Benn, for his part, replied that he preferred Pizza Hut. Whoa. Meanwhile, Chris Eubank Jr. showed his displeasure in another way. For hitting Benn with an egg, the British Boxing Board of Control ultimately fined Eubank Jr. $130,000. Some people felt the fine was too much. Others thought that you had to break some eggs to make a big fight. But just like their fathers, the men didn't seem to be faking the animosity.
Do you know what? I just can't take him seriously, that's all. Just look at his career. Every time he steps up, he's fouled. Every time.
I hate what he stands for. I hate what he did. I hate what he represents.
I think he's an absolute idiot.
A clean idiot, though.
Yeah, but you're still an idiot, though.
I mean, on reflection, are you pleased you did that, or do you think that it was a bit childish?
On reflection, I wish I had an egg in both hands. The egg was, it was a symbol.
Oh, sure.
It was a statement that if you cheat, you will be punished. You will be embarrassed.
His dad don't even like him. You could not pay that man enough money to sit in this man's corner. Now that's an accomplishment.
Another point of contention was the implementation of special weight classes, which are fast becoming a problem in boxing. Here, Eubank Jr., a natural super middleweight, would have to drain himself to 160 pounds and face a financial penalty for each pound missed. On top of that, neither man could weigh more than 170 pounds the following day. Some claimed that Eubank Jr. was at fault for accepting the clause, and that was a fair point. However, if a smaller fighter is agreeing to fight a bigger one, why implement the handicap? Doesn't that devalue the victory? And sure enough, on weight day, the drama ensued.
Can we stop the cameras? We didn't agree to any filming in it. Why is everyone here?
Why is everyone here?
Like all these films.
Eubank Jr. missed weight by half a pound and was fined $500,000. Afterwards, Eubank Jr. would state they really wanted that money. Either way, the fight went on.
Chris or Conor, light the touch paper. Here we go.
Eubank Jr. tried boxing from long range, but Benn's speed allowed him to connect.
He said he would, but Conor then comes in with the left hand and the right one. Over.
But Benn was wide open which allowed his bigger foe to connect. The action was electric.
And again, and Conor does it with a left hook. Conor Benn.
The right hand again there from Benn.
Rather the left hook from Eubank. They're starting to put the punches together.
Despite the entertaining exchanges, there was also a lot of holding, especially from Eubank Jr. As the action unfolded, it was interesting to see whether Eubank Jr.'s weight cut would hinder him late or whether his size would prove an advantage.
Already we'd probably like that right hand from Conor Benn, both having their successes in there. And looking like a long fight at this stage.
Eubank Jr. started having success in the 7th round.
Up in there. Oh, good shot from Eubank.
Took it so well.
Big right hand from Eubank. Back comes Benn.
The two men exchanged furiously in the 8th.
But they can stage a show. And this is...
Will that weight affect Eubank down the stretch?
Big shot. The canny landed right out for Benn.
Eubank Jr. started shortening his shots in the 9th round.
His punches go, and he's punching interesting combinations, but now busy.
Good body shot from Conor Benn.
Benn replied by digging to the body. Both men really wanted to win, and they went to war in the championship rounds.
He's actually on his shot.
Gets left in the 11th round. Look at the turn. The crowd absolutely engaged.
In the end, all three judges had Eubank Jr. winning. Still, the electric action delivered by both men demanded a rematch, which would end up taking place in November of that year. An unforgettable event took place on May the 2nd. Now, unfortunately, it was memorable for all the wrong reasons. The Saudis continued the tradition of delivering mega events, and the selling point here was that the bout would take place smack dab in the middle of Times Square. The plan was to eventually hold more events in special locales, such as Alcatraz and Auschwitz. We are kidding about the last one, by the way. Further enticing the crowd were the fights, as 2/3 looked like surefire battles. You had Teofimo Lopez, the undisputed junior welterweight champion, taking on his bitter enemy, Arnold Barboza. Barboza was a skilled boxer, and many gave him a chance to topple the champion. The second bout on the card seemed less enticing, as you had Devin Haney taking on a potentially shop-worn Jose Ramirez. Still, what was at stake would become visible in the main event, as Ryan Garcia took on childhood rival Rolando Rolly Romero. Provided that Garcia and Haney won their respective bouts, the two men would later engage in a much-anticipated rematch. On top of that, the sparring footage between Garcia and Romero seemed entertaining enough, so at the very least, crowd would get one entertaining fight. The press conferences certainly were. First, Arnold Barboza showed up looking like a preppy carjacker. Teofimo Lopez, for his part, was dressed like a gay hillbilly, and right off the bat, he got into it with the crowd.
Hell yeah! My swag like it! My swag like it! 718, man!
Then, he thanked a litany of deities.
Hey, well, first off, let's say thank you to God. All praise be to Allah. Truthfully, I think that all these things come together.
The press conference had taken place in New York City, had Teofimo Lopez correctly predicted Zohran Mamdani's mayoral election. Does Teofimo Lopez have extrasensory perception in the 21st century? Will that be the new PED? Lopez and Barboza stole the show as they bickered non-stop.
Hey, second, come for you. I can feel you. Ooh, I can smell you. You know what that smells like, baby. Oh, yeah. Producer. Pussy and ass. Yeah, a whole bunch of it. Yeah. Nah, fuck.
Bro, Top Rank don't even want to be here, bro. They're just here because they have to be here. They don't even want to be here to support you, bro.
$30+ million. Damn right they're going to be here,
matter, bro.
The rest of the cast, the usually vociferous Garcia, Haney, and Romero, remained strangely quiet. And even when the fighters talked, the microphones failed to pick up their mundane comments.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Even the audio techs didn't care what the other fighters had to say. At one point, Garcia and Romero got into a boring discussion about which paper belt was on the line, and Lopez had to barge in.
Hey, Turkey, I am your champion, by the way. Ring Magazine, I am your champion.
We don't give a fuck what you are. We don't give a fuck, bro.
I'm tired of hearing this shit. We don't give
Box, baby, you gotta respect the origin.
After the first press conference, some media members questioned Lopez about his previous comments, which some had interpreted as being racist against Afro-Anglos. His response raised more questions than answers.
Yeah. Listen, I'm gonna be honest, we're all racist. Each one of us, all of us. You know why? Because we're against the one true race that matters the most. That's the human race. All of us. What up? We're all black. Y'all just don't do y'all research. They said the first f***ing human being was a monkey named Lucy. Stupid, yeah. Okay, but the darker the flesh. Black is... Jesus was black. What y'all talking about?
In the second press conference, Barboza, trying to rival Lopez's last ensemble, entered wearing a leather vest, no shirt, and black gloves. But Lopez would not be denied, and he came in dressed like a San Francisco cowboy, wielding a giant berserk sword. And matching the outfits was the trash talk.
You ain't shit, bro. You ain't shit. You're right. I am this shit. You ain't shit. I'm gonna wipe your face with my ass, nigga. I'm gonna beat the fuck out of you. Damn right. Fuck out of you.
And Lopez wasn't content with just going after Barboza.
Talked about what you looking at, Haney? What you looking at, Haney? Oh my God. What the f you looking at?
Unfortunately for Haney, the California crowd agreed with Lopez.
All right, let's turn our attention to Devin Haney. You guys gave him a award reception earlier, right? Big fans of Devin Haney here in the house?
Oscar de la Hoya, perhaps influenced by Barboza and Lopez's outfits, matched the zesty energy.
Garcia, look, he's coming off. It's going to be about a year now. He's hungry. He's hungry to get on top. He's hungry to be world champion. What?
Oh, shit. Pause, man. You gotta pause. There's no Diddy.
Whoa, that.
Big drama.
Oh, sorry. All right. My bad. All right. You know, he's ready to just get on top of the boxing world. He's ready.
And finally, Lopez and Barboza's feud heated up. The event was to take place on Friday, May the 2nd. All throughout the build-up, the big question was, would the event be free to the public? No one gave a definitive answer. On Saturday morning, a structure surrounded by fencing appeared in Times Square. And finally, it was confirmed that only a select few, the patricians, the elite, would be allowed to graze the stands while the unwashed masses toiled in the streets. The enclosure made it seem like an internment camp.
Avenge me! Avenge me!
People's frustration was understandable, but the mere concept of holding a boxing event out in the open with a potentially limitless crowd was insanity. And days later, journalist Steve Kim on his podcast The 3 Knockdown Rule corroborated the logistical difficulties of setting up such an event.
Couple of hours before it began was almost canceled because little things like parking for the paramedics, you need to have at least 2 paramedics available. And people say, why 2? Because if someone gets carted off, you need another one there. Yeah. So a lot of these little things popped up late.
Finally, the event was on, and it was quite a sight. The first major fight was a Lopez-Barboza bout, and it started slowly as expected.
Teofimo Lopez by 77%. Opponents were top-notch opponents. Those what pursue the craft of day after day, hour after hour application.
But at least Lopez Sr. kept things interesting.
Yo. Ah, shit.
But Lopez Sr. wasn't the only one flipping over.
You see his face? That shit hurt him, bro. That shit hurt him.
Refreshed, Lopez used his superior speed and athleticism to outbox Barboza.
It's hard, Antonio. Well, that just... He was already ahead. Barboza with Teo is on the square. I haven't seen him look this good in a long time.
The DAZN broadcast also introduced a non-human entity known only as the Ford scorecard. Barboza finally had some success in the 6th round.
Once again, the record is 32-0, and there's a hard counter right hand that could change.
But Barboza failed to capitalize. Lopez continued being too quick and too accurate. Plus, Lopez's defense was on point. Barboza, however, was in a world in which he thought he was winning. Even while showboating, Lopez could still counter. In the 11th round, Lopez clinched, and a frustrated Barboza resorted to prison tactics. Barboza threw with conviction, but one punch wasn't gonna do it.
You've never seen a hand. His rhythm tonight is on another level, man. Like I said, this is the best trio I've seen, and I saw that
In the end, Lopez retained his championship with a convincing decision. The bout may have been one-sided and therefore a little boring, but it was a war compared to what was about to follow. Devin Haney, still technically undefeated, was still remembered for his horrible 2024 year, where the inconsistent Ryan Garcia managed to trash him around the ring and allegedly made him defecate in his trunks. Haney was lucky when Garcia tested positive for the illegal PED known as Ostrine, and the bout was ruled a no contest. On fight week, Haney's trainer/father Bill Haney filmed a bizarre video in which he walked through New York looking for Teofimo Lopez, talking to himself, and harassing passerbys. Many were curious to see how Devin Haney would look after the Garcia beating, but there was also a lot at stake as a lucrative Garcia rematch loomed in the horizon. His opponent was former titleist Jose Carlos Ramirez. In his prime, Ramirez had been a good pressure boxer, but the last time we'd seen him, he was thoroughly outboxed by Arnold Barboza. A win for Ramirez would resurrect his career. There's not much to say about this one, as Haney spent all 12 rounds moving around the ring against a shop-worn opponent. The excessive movement on a pay-per-view event infuriated the audience, but equally vexing was his clinching.
And Devin might win this fight, but is it the way he wanted to win?
Ramirez actually did a good job of cutting the ring off, but there's not much anyone can do to a moving opponent when you finally pin him down and he clinches. Remember that according to the WBA, the WBO, the IBA, and the Association of Boxing Commissions, clinching is illegal, as is dipping below the waist. Haney did what he had to, but his skittish performance failed to redeem him. Worst of all, he only managed to land 70 shots on a worn-out Ramirez. Not exactly world-class stuff there. The first two major fights of the card had disappointed, but surely Ryan Garcia and Rolando Romero, now fighting at welterweight, would save the night. Garcia won the first round using his jab.
Do that consistently, Roach. Good jab.
But Romero delivered a surprise.
Garcia, that last fight
Garcia immediately scored with a big counter hook.
Now let's see how Garcia...
And this set the stage for the rest of the night. With both guys overly cautious of the other's power, the fight became a snooze fest.
This fight, like its predecessor, is also being fought at a numerically slow pace.
Garcia resumed scoring with his jab.
Romero, it looks like that's a close fight, tactical rhythm thing.
And we saw the unwanted return of the fourth judge.
It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with.
Romero did his best work scoring with jabs to the body. The audience awaited the appearance of Garcia's dynamite left hook, but as each round passed, it became obvious he was too scared to let it go. And both guys clinched whenever the other managed to get in range.
Missing in action so far, the electric left hook of Ryan Garcia.
In the championship rounds, Romero stepped it up somewhat.
The high stake. Ooh, good hook. And that one landed.
In the end, Romero was awarded a unanimous decision. It had been an uneventful bout, and according to punch stats, Garcia had actually outlanded Romero. Still, he hadn't outlanded him by much, and because of both men's lack of activity, the fight had been up in the air. In the end, Garcia was the night's big loser, as the fight had been there to be won. And worse still, he ruined the lucrative Haney rematch. Overall, the event failed to deliver, and it made one wonder whether this was the best that the new generation could offer. As the summer neared, so too did the arrival of a potential superstar. The undefeated lightweight contender and Olympic silver medalist, Keyshawn Davis, was set to fight the heavy-handed Dominican, Edwin De Los Santos. Davis was coming off 2 straight KO victories over solid opposition, although he did seem much bigger than his opponents. More on that later. To start 2025, Davis took on Denis Beranchyk. Things took a bizarre turn when Davis went online and posted a photo of a box filled with watermelon and bananas. The note attached, written in broken English, stated that the fruit was a gift to help Davis with his jumps. Davis then accused Baranchyk, or someone from his camp, of having sent the box and of being racist.
I want to address the fact that this guy came to America to give me bananas and watermelon with a note on it. Y'all did it. It's okay that y'all did it. I'm gonna whoop your ass for it.
And then he started a confrontation.
Bro, you're not tougher than me. You can talk about all that bare knuckle stuff. I don't care about none of that. So all that you talk about, I don't care. I'm gonna you up Friday.
But in today's racially charged climate, mere accusations were evidence enough. Barancyk's manager, Alex Krejcik, confronted Davis's coach Bomac, but despite all the drama created by the Davis team, Bomac suddenly refused to talk about it, especially in front of the cameras.
Bring this pipe inside.
Don't worry about it.
I do worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Hold up. Get the damn camera out the way, man. Go on somewhere.
Had boxing witnessed its own Jussie Smollett situation, the Baranchyk stoppage raised Davis's profile. Bob Arum, his promoter, had this to say about him. One of my fighters, Vasyl Lomachenko, retired today, and the next successor for him is Keyshawn. But the praise appeared to go to Davis's head, as evidenced by the De Los Santos buildup.
Nigga, I'll punch too. What the fuck are you? Take your power away.
The fact that Davis looked like a mix between Urkel and Quentin Tarantino in From Dusk Till Dawn only made his behavior all the more disturbing.
You know what I'm saying?
But Davis was not content with just going at it against De Los Santos. He also argued against undefeated prospect Abdullah Mason.
Is this man that's licking his chops while he stares at you one of those guys?
Absolutely. So what you want to do?
I'm working my way up. I'm right here.
So after you beat him, what you want to do? So let's do it next. Let's do it next.
Okay, I'm pretty sure my team accommodated.
No. Me and you, let's make it happen right now in front of everybody. After I knock De Los Santos out, me and you, let's fight next.
Mason, to his credit, took it in stride, but Davis continued the belligerence. It was the second time in a row that Davis acted that way, but it would soon become clear that his attitude wasn't an act. The day before the fight, Davis failed to make weight. Earlier that year, another top-ranked fighter, Emmanuel Navarrete, suffered mightily in a second and ultimately successful attempt at making weight. Here, Davis refused a second attempt and opted to vacate his belt. This proved another instance of fighters manipulating the system, stretching the weigh-in from 24 hours before the fight to 36 hours, or simply fighters refusing to make weight and settling by paying a share of their purse to their opponent. In recent years, fighters such as Shakur Stevenson and Ryan Garcia have benefited from the aforementioned tactic. To De Los Santos' credit, he refused the money and opted to cancel the fight. Davis's affront was made worse by the fact that the event was to take place in his home state of Virginia. But now, he'd ruined the main event. The night went on, with Abdullah Mason taking over the main spot, and Davis showed up to watch his brother Kelvin take on Keyshawn's old foe, Nahir Albright. There, Davis got into it with De Los Santos' Dominican fans.
Yo, boy's gonna get it today. He was fucking scared. No. He was scary. DR.
He was also seen compulsively gorging on food like a homeless guy. In hindsight, the pre-fight documentary footage leading up to the fight proved revelatory.
But I got you, coach. And I said, see, Bo, man.
Perhaps hanging around Bomac gave him the wrong example. Kelvin Davis and Albright engaged in a terrific fight, in which Albright emerged the winner via decision. But then came the unexpected.
This is what happened backstage.
After the Albright bout, the Davis family and entourage allegedly burst into the dressing room to attack him. The melee then spread into the corridor.
I was in my locker room and celebrating my victory with my team. And Keyshawn and his little brother, he like headbutting me.
Thankfully, Albright remained in good spirits the following day.
Sing y'all something. Alright. It's hard for me to say this, but it's come from my heart. Been a long time coming, we've been fell apart.
I guess you could say his singing is Albright. As for Davis, it took him a while to apologize for his various transgressions, though it was weird that the first thing he mentioned wasn't the apology, but rather how the situation affected him, saying, "The situation with Albright messed me up so much, it damn near took me 2 months to get back on live." Well, listen, as long as he could get back on live. Eventually, he did apologize, saying he was sorry for missing the weight and ruining the event. Later that year, Davis parted ways with trainer Bomac McIntyre, with rumors indicating Davis had blamed Bomac for the weight issues. Davis didn't fight the rest of 2025, which is a shame, because in boxing, we need all the power punchers we can get. In the end, this sport is all about redemption, so this wasn't the end of Davis, but it's gonna be up to him to prove it. In Istanbul, Turkey, a fight between 2020 Olympic gold medalist Albert Baturgaziev and perennial contender Jesse Dickens took place, and it marked the return of a very special announcer.
The challenger,
The legendary Crazy Pride Lady, also known as Len Hart. The high-powered vocals seemed to inspire Jesse Dickens as he pulled off the upset by KO in the 4th round.
Baturgaziev is all over the place here in the round. Strong, straight left hand for Dickens. He's gone. They've got the towel in the hand and they've thrown the towel in.
Let's hope we get to see more of Dickens and Crazy Pride Lady in the future. July the 12th brought another fantastic card courtesy of the Saudis, with the last two bouts pitting undefeated lightweights Shakur Stevenson and William Cepeda, as well as super middleweight Hamzah Sheeraz versus Edgar Berlanga. Stevenson was coming off a cancelled bout against Kid Schofield and was eager to fight a top-level opponent. Stevenson was a slippery boxer with an unconventional style, but he also had a problem with engaging. He'd stung the joint out badly in 2021 and 2023, thus becoming an internet meme. And even when he engaged, such as when he fought Artem Hartunonian, his own fans still walked out of the arena.
Shakur, they leave them.
Stevenson signed with Matchroom Promotions in 2025, thus giving the company the unenviable task of trying to sell him to an already frustrated public. Years earlier, Stevenson, who is half Puerto Rican, had tried playing up to the Boricuas, maybe trying to channel another defensive wizard in Wilfred Benitez. But some didn't like it, stating that disrespect to the black fan base that's been riding with you since the Olympics and the black family you were raised in is crazy. People will remember the disrespect.
When y'all get these young guys on here that we perceive as black, could y'all please ask them, are they black? I mean, that's gonna have to be a thing now. I spend money with black people. I go out of my way, above and beyond, to support black fighters and spend money with black people. So I need to know, hey man, are you black?
Yes, it seemed that Stevenson, with his uneventful style and multi-layered ethnicity, just couldn't satisfy the fans. The solution was to fight the best, and this came via William Cepeda, a non-stop pressure fighter who could throw 100 punches per round. Cepeda had already fought plenty of southpaws and was ready to fight the ultimate trickster. Unfortunately, Stevenson once again fell into his usual trap of vowing to destroy opponents. Against De Los Santos, Stevenson had promised to deliver a beating.
I'm gonna beat you up. I don't care how hungry you is.
Then, he ran. Against Hartunonian, Stevenson once again vowed to kick some behind.
Cook, depending on how tough he is, how much punishment he can take. I know he's gonna start running and
When the physical trashing failed to materialize, Stevenson accused his foe of running, even though the two men had mostly fought at close range.
You wore your tracksuit, Sheriff? Huh? I said you wore your tracksuit.
In fact, Stevenson's the only one who was hurt in the bout. Now, he once again promised a beating.
I'll give you a prediction on stoppage. I'm coming out there to whoop his ass.
This was a risky strategy, seeing as how he'd once assaulted a woman and failed to drop her. So how would he beat up a tough contender? Stevenson seemed to get nervous during the first press conference, when Turkey LLC called in, demanding that the fighters give it their best. Later, Stevenson started his antics.
Come Saturday night, I'm coming in here to beat his ass, but I'm coming to whoop his ass. I stand by that.
Stevenson also tried setting up a bet with Oscar De La Hoya, but the Golden Boy hit him where it hurt.
Oscar, you sounded real confident. Do you want to bet?
You don't have enough money.
You said what? Wow.
Now, however, Stevenson would have to live up to his promise of putting belt to ass, especially in front of the Sheik.
Shakur Stevenson from nearby Newark, New Jersey, and we're going to see if he can entertain right now.
As expected, Cepeda pressured his foe.
Body shot landed with the left hand for Cepeda. Shakur firing back.
Those are the clean shots right there that the judges are going to be looking.
And Stevenson, perhaps taken aback, clinched. Stevenson stabbed to the body to offset the pressure and fired at a necessity upstairs. Thankfully, that pattern continued after the first round.
Those guys did well. We talk about two undefeated world champions, bro. We're going to get this type of fight.
To exchange here at the outset of round 2. And logic tells you he's going to have to be willing to exchange for some portions of the fight.
Overlooked. He's a 7-1 underdog, but the kind of punches Zepeda's landing to the body, you see that
body combination by Cepeda. Thudding sound at ringside.
First jab downstairs, good shot, good two-punch combination of player like that. And we mentioned it in the last fight between Playo and Matias.
And what I meant by that is we know Shakur Stevenson can do.
And another.
He's hurt.
In the fourth, Stevenson adjusted to a side stance and managed to take some of the steam off of Cepeda's offense, but it remained a difficult affair.
And Cepeda from his Diaz is another shot.
I think there was something out.
Well, as long as Shakur stands there and keeps his hands still, and Cepeda lands.
The fight then became a pattern of Stevenson staving off Cepeda's pressure as best he could, and then replying.
Slipping away.
Well, there's a tremendous uppercut by Shakur Stevenson that rocked Cepeda's head back, and Cepeda responds by
Had Shakur pressed up against the ropes. He's effective.
Which could ultimately decide the fight.
The bout was a battle of Stevenson's clean shot upstairs against Cepeda's activity, bodywork, and jabs. It was a demanding fight for both men.
That's all Cepeda.
So in other words, they're both doing what they want to do. Cepeda the volume, Shakur the precision.
Though luckily for them, neither one proved a big puncher.
Shakur into a corner.
Now this is the one that hurt him.
Like that.
Oh, you don't want to have it back to the debate of the judges.
Shakur Stevenson is a heavier puncher than Stevenson, more precise.
Even though Shakur Stevenson's doing the better work, Williams Cepeda's landing an awful lot of shots, and I think those are the kind of things that can impress judges.
In the end, Stevenson's cleaner work upstairs earned him a decision, and Stevenson did sort of mend fences with Cepeda. Still, he'd failed to put belt to ass as promised. In fact, the only one who'd been hurt had been Stevenson. Some debated whether Stevenson had chosen to stand more than usual out of his own volition, or because Cepeda forced him to. Both men deserve credit for toughing it out, but it seemed as if many failed to acknowledge Cepeda's work. The slugger had done a good job of cutting the ring off, even when Stevenson tried to move. Moreover, as Antonio Tarver astutely pointed out, the body shots also seemed to take the foot speed out of Stevenson.
I know Shakur want to move those legs, but those body shots that Cepeda been landing, those legs right now, don't look a lot energized.
There was even a round in which Stevenson tried to move and then looked up at the clock. Still, there aren't that many pressure fighters who are going to be able to press Stevenson like Cepeda did. In fact, as of this video's release, Stevenson is set to challenge the undisputed junior welterweight champion, Teofimo Lopez. Lopez can't pressure half as well as Cepeda, but he is twice as dynamic. Who will emerge victorious on January the 31st? In the main event of that July card, a veritable grudge match took place in the super middleweight division as the undefeated Hamzah Sheeraz made his 168-pound debut against fellow power puncher Edgar Berlanga. Both men had something to prove, as Sheeraz wished to erase the memory of his controversial winter draw against Carlos Adames. Berlanga, meanwhile, looked to move on from his 2024 unanimous decision defeat to Saul Alvarez. Berlanga had been derided for holding a parade in his own honor after going the distance with the super middleweight champion. This after having talked so much trash against Alvarez. Moreover, he'd failed to score an impressive performance in years. None of this, however, prevented Berlanga from once again talking trash to his opponent.
First and foremost, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for this opportunity, and I'm knocking this fucker out. And we looking to hurt him. You know what I'm saying? I want to break every bone in this nigga's face. Cool, he from London, he coming over here. You know what I'm saying? I'm a superstar, bro.
And Berlanga also went after Sheeraz's manager, Ray Spencer Brown.
Saying his manager, that's his manager over there that was talking to you? Yeah, that nigga's tripping. He bugging out. He's saying that Sheeraz gonna knock me out, and not even his own fighter believe that.
He called him the N-word. He's lucky Spencer Brown Ray Winstone didn't punch his lights out.
Get the out of here.
Berlanga also went after Sheeraz's new trainer, Andy Lee.
Now you picked up Andy Lee. I knocked his fight out. Broke his face, broke everything in his I will you up and Andy Lee the same night.
Berlanga even went after the MC.
While Edgar puts him in a pack, I'll apologize for the language. Sorry about that. Keep going.
That, yo, we in New York.
During the DAZN sit-down, Berlanga turned into Robert De Niro, constantly repeating his lines.
I promise you.
And I'm gonna take
That's
it.
why, all right, we're gonna see.
I'm gonna take it.
We're gonna see.
Otherwise, I won't
we're gonna
be
see.
here.
We're gonna see.
I don't
We're gonna
fight
see.
shit. I won't be here.
We're gonna see.
I won't
We're
be
gonna
here
see.
otherwise.
We're gonna
I
see.
won't be
Trust
here
me, we're gonna
otherwise.
see. Trust me, we're gonna see. Trust me, we're gonna see. I mean, I promise you. I promise you. I promise you.
And when it happens?
I promise you.
And when
I
it
promise
happens?
you. I promise you.
And when it happens?
Because I know I'm gonna get hit.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? You don't buy anything. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? What did I tell you?
Then, things between the two boxers turned weird.
You're not focused on me. You're not focused on me.
And my balls is on here. I know I gotta.
You know, see my last fight, how many licks I took?
What?
How many bangs
Bro,
I
he was
took?
tapping you, bro. That dude, he
You're
was tapping you, bro. He was
You're
tapping you,
disillusioned.
tapping you. I'm like, yo.
You know I'm coming though, innit? You know that. Yeah, you know I'm coming. Coming with everything.
Explain that.
I'm leaving everything in that ring. Everything. This is exciting.
I like it. I like the energy. You both are very intense right now.
Berlanga even attacked people that weren't even associated with Sheeraz, such as promoter Oscar De La Hoya.
My little f***ing stripper. My little f***ing stripper. You look, remember this shit? Remember that shit?
You have no world titles. What the? Oh, yeah, let me put him on now. Let me put him on now, baby.
Just a second. Thank you. Have a seat, Oscar. My goodness.
Interestingly enough, Berlanga's the one that ended up losing control.
Come on, you thinking to slap me?
Oscar,
Come on.
please, Oscar.
You had to give Berlanga credit for selling the fight, but could he back up his words in the ring?
Well, there's a look at Berlanga. And of course, we've mentioned probably too frequently now the 16 first-round knockout streak with which he began his career.
The opening round proved a jabbing contest, but soon the fight heated up.
He's lined up for a fight with Canelo Alvarez. Missed him by an inch. Good right hand by Berlanga. This fight heating up. Berlanga is actually stepping on Sheeraz's foot, Bryce. Good jab by Berlanga.
And some of the bizarre nature from the press conference trash talking spilled over to the announcers.
But they playing footsies right now.
Yeah, and now it looks there you go. Sheeraz just stepped on Berlanga's toe.
They're taking turns.
Slowly but surely, the two boxers put more power into their shots.
Here it is. When you open your hands up, you give a puncher like Sheeraz.
Has a reputation as a skilled counter-puncher.
Round for Sheeraz.
Most definitely. Berlanga returned the favor.
By the middle of the fourth, both men stood their ground.
Got a little testy after the third round. Ooh, that's when you know what I mean?
Yeah, remember we had controversy last
ways to land.
Ooh, good. He out. He might be out.
And down goes Berlanga.
And he's hurt bad than anything.
How quickly Berlanga can roll.
He's out of there, bro. He got a roll. Right cross. And he's still clapping his hands together.
Down with the right cross.
He out of there, bro.
And there he's got him hurt again. And that's it. That's it. What a show by Hamzah Sheeraz.
And with that, Sheeraz walked away with a fifth-round stoppage. And as is often the case with knockout wins, it partially made people forget about the controversial Adames fight. Sheeraz would later reveal he'd conversed with Berlanga's father the day after the fight, thus showing there were no hard feelings, though the same couldn't be said for Oscar De La Hoya.
Oh my God! Sheeraz, congratulations! Berlanga! Oh my God, you got knocked out!
In the end, Sheeraz positioned himself for more big fights in 2026. A week later, another grudge match took place, this time in the heavyweight division.
Oh, this is London. This is my town. I'll become king there, become undisputed.
After 2 wins over Tyson Fury, the undefeated Alexander Usyk became the de facto heavyweight champion, but he still had unfinished business with contender Daniel Dubois. In 2023, Usyk and Dubois had faced off in what had been a competitive matchup. In the 5th round, Dubois hit Usyk with a low blow, and received 5 minutes to recover. Usyk then proceeded to drop and stop the Brit. Many, including Dubois and his team, claimed the 5th round shot had been legal and demanded a reversal and/or a rematch. But the British Boxing Board of Control upheld the original result. This forced Dubois to make some crucial adjustments, and so he hired trainer Don Charles and embarked on a stoppage streak, which included a massive stoppage win over Anthony Joshua. With renewed confidence, Dubois challenged Usyk and was confident that he could defeat the pound-for-pound king. And Dubois' team was eager to remind Usyk that they knew he'd faked the 5th round reaction.
That's what you mean? I can't be fooled, trust me. I know people's facial expressions, I know physiological reactions.
The acting you did that night, you've heard of the Oscars, right? The Emmys. You should be given an Oscar for the performance.
Dubois' trainer, Don Charles, even went as far as doubting Usyk's piety.
You pride yourself as a God-fearing man. Thou shalt not lie in the name of God. So I want to question, what kind of God do you worship?
Usyk, for his part, presented Dubois with photos of the numerous low blows he'd absorbed from him, and he asked him to autograph them. Charles then strangely offered to give Usyk a very special photograph.
You can look at me as much as you want. In fact, I'll give you a photograph of mine. You can take it home and study it.
In the end, it would be up to Dubois alone to prove his worth. From the first round, Usyk aggressively jabbed and showed plenty of bounce on those old legs.
Foot movement already looks tip-top of Usyk.
The newly improved Dubois landed some blows, but could he keep up with Usyk's movement? Usyk seemed motivated to prove a point.
Dave Dubois is 27 after those wins.
Dubois pressed in the third, but Usyk's footwork looked like that of a younger man, and Usyk was sitting on his counters.
6.
In the 5th, the action intensified.
Anthony Joshua in September for the chanting, the AQ, and Daniel Dubois trying to force it back.
And so, Usyk proved he was the better fighter. But the controversy didn't end here. A video surfaced showing Dubois seemingly partying with an entourage. Allegedly, Dubois didn't even know many of the guests and was forced to take pictures with them. At one point, Dubois supposedly got into a car and drove away to clear his head. Then, because of a scheduling mishap, Dubois was forced to walk to the arena. What, they couldn't take an Uber? Because of this, Dubois didn't show up to the arena until 2 hours before the bout, and later got into an argument with security about allowing his entire entourage into the venue. Reports indicated that Dubois' team had threatened to cancel the fight if the entourage was prevented entry. Don Charles would later address the video, stating that it had not been a party, but rather a gathering, one which he said had also taken place before the Joshua fight. Strangely, despite trying to normalize the festivities, Charles claimed that there would be an internal inquest conducted by himself and promoter Frank Warren. Unfortunately for Charles, he failed to survive the inquisition, as Dubois announced he was switching trainers. This time, however, Dubois' team couldn't blame Usyk for the hijinks, and now the question was, who could topple the champion? In 2025, it was announced that Manny Pacquiao, perhaps the best fighter of his generation, would return to the ring at the age of 46. The last time we'd seen the iconic Pacquiao had been in 2021, when Yordenis Ugas upset him via decision. Pacquiao had looked okay in that bout, considering he was in his 40s. He'd also thrown 815 punches, not bad for an old fighter. Still, the performance had been enough for Pacquiao to retire. In 2024, Pacquiao engaged in an exhibition bout against Rukia Anpo, and had actually looked decent against a younger and bigger foe. But an exhibition bout was one thing, fighting a world-class boxer after 4 years away from the ring was another. Still, his next opponent, Mario Barrios, a top 10 welterweight, had already shown vulnerabilities. In 2021, Tank Davis stopped him in the 11th round of a junior welterweight bout. A year later, a rusty Keith Thurman emerged from a 2-year layoff and managed to decisively outbox him. Then, in late 2024, Barrios went to war against Abel Ramos, pulling out a decision win. Still, all the men who'd managed to hurt Barrios were legitimate power punchers, so it's not as if any old body could topple him. On top of this, he'd managed to hurt Tank Davis and Keith Thurman. And finally, he was taller, rangier, and younger than Pacquiao. Sure, all-time great boxers like Vicente Saldivar and Sugar Ray Leonard had won championships after long layoffs, but had managed to do so while in their 20s and 30s. Pacquiao was in his mid-40s. Safe to say, chances for a victory, even from one of the best of all time, appeared slim.
The crowd will tell you what this moment is all about as they await the first bell. There for Pacquiao. That was the speed from Barrios. There's that left from Manny Pacquiao. Yeah, so far he's paying the guard during that sequence. That left-hand speed is still there.
Surprisingly, Pacquiao found success in the first round. Whenever Barrios fired with conviction, Pacquiao was slower to react, but he was keeping up with the younger men.
Wanted to punish Pacquiao. That's a nice block. Pacquiao. That could either be the point that begins his undoing. And there it is. Every time that Barrios throws punches.
Shockingly, Barrios was having difficulty with Pacquiao, and the older man still had some bounce on his legs. Barrios did his best work with his jab, but despite the long stick, Pacquiao managed to get close enough to score. In the 5th and 6th rounds, Pacquiao started looking his age as Barrios surged ahead.
Love and remember him is all counter shots there from Barrios, flush to the chin. This was some really good Pacquiao, but got time to close.
But in the 7th, Pacquiao picked it back up.
His legs are still right there
with Barrios. Oh, what a nice right from Barrios.
Shockingly, the 46-year-old Pacquiao was sustaining the pace.
Some of that is Pacquiao. Look, he's busy politician. And he's competitive and taking the packet. You got what it takes to be Barrios. The penalty of separating yourself. And the judges have.
Barrios seemed to pull off the 12th with his cleaner shots.
Is the one that's dictating right now.
But in the end, the bout was ruled a draw. Rewatching the fight, it seemed as if Barrios had been the more consistent fighter throughout the bout, particularly with his jab, and perhaps the audience had swayed the judges as the crowd cheered wildly every time Pacquiao landed. Still, a draw was a win for Pacquiao, considering the circumstances set against him. And by once again defying the odds, he showed why he was one of the best boxers of his generation. On the undercard, a much-anticipated rematch took place between top junior middleweight contenders Sebastian Fundora and Tim Tszyu. Tszyu had lost 2 of his last 3 bouts, one of which came via stoppage against Bakram Murtazaliev in 2024. The second defeat had come via controversial decision loss against Fundora. There, Tszyu had controlled the action before an elbow caught his face. Many viewers thought that Tszyu would have dominated the bout had it not been for the blood pouring down his face. Fundora, meanwhile, a 6' 5" beanpole, generally known for fighting at close range, wanted to not only disprove that the first victory had been a fluke, but also that he could use his freakish height to his advantage. Here's how the action unfolded.
Between Tim Tszyu looking to exact revenge on the man he gave a world title opportunity to March 2024. He's not using it this. The towering inferno is lit up here. Physical edge over Tim Tszyu.
Fundora continued the assault in the second, but Tszyu fired back.
He's not doing the thing you're supposed to do once he gets us off. Hold up, he's getting to can't get careless because Tim Tszyu is looking for that shot. He's out of range. He can't let a nice left hook there. He's the cut man or trainer after your loss. He says, I'm going.
Tszyu came out firing in the third.
Tim Tszyu immediately pawing at that corner. There's a nice right. It was one of his biggest takeaways looking back at the...
But Fundora's reach and height continued troubling the Australian.
Straight back, he's still giving the distance. Wait for the chest. Straight shots. But, I mean, look, Tszyu is giving everything he can, but he's just being outgunned here.
The bout turned into a shootout.
Tszyu may be hurt, but he is loading up with right hands. But watch to the left, as a sub, he's a suffer. He wants that. Look at that left hand. What is the nose? The blood of a legend.
Tszyu was having success, but Fundora was also landing and making Tszyu work hard, particularly by making him miss with wild swings. The pace took its toll on Tszyu.
Oh, there's a right hand, but Fundora says, I'm going to go down took Tim Sue a while to sit on the stool. It's over! The fight is done! Sebastian Fundora retains his belt!
Fundora walked away with a 7th-round TKO. In defeat, Zoo remained as candid as ever.
He's one tough motherfucker. He's tall as f***.
As for Fundora, he was now ranked number 2 at junior middleweight. And if he ever beat Vergil Ortiz, he would become the true champion of the world. At the end of July, top-rated flyweight Kenshiro Taraji took on once beaten Ricardo Sandoval. Taraji had entered many people's pound-for-pound lists after scoring a 6-fight winning streak since avenging his only loss to Masamichi Yabuki. Taraji possessed tremendous foot speed, a sharp jab, and a dynamite right hand. Sandoval, for his part, lacked Taraji's dossier, but he had improved since his majority decision loss in 2022. But would it be enough to dethrone the champion? Taraji had plenty of bounce on his feet, but Sandoval was not intimidated.
Main events. Need man go good, but he's there, always a threat. Job here, Devin. Just go.
It was a beautiful display of boxing from both men.
Right hand in there. That was good coming in. Yeah, he throws that left foot perfectly. The jab and comes wrong with the left foot. You can see the
But things took a turn in the 5th.
There's been a couple now that have been flushed, and that is as flush as you like it.
In the 6th, Taraji continued building the momentum.
Taking a little bit of time in this fight. And as you said, when Sandoval's come on the attack, he seized his opportunity. There's teasing the body and then going upstairs. Sandoval, credit to him. Final few seconds, the right uppercut. Just walked onto a couple there from Sandoval.
Already. Sandoval.
By the 8th round, however, Sandoval was landing hard shots.
Out of the round. Right hand there. Uppercut from Sandoval. Nothing silly.
It remained a competitive fight, but it seemed as if Sandoval was now landing the cleaner punches.
There. And also, even
on the attack.
Switch southpaw.
A reminder that a lot of it,
but there's no head movement from him. The feet have stopped bouncing in and out.
Shots again, lined up the big one, Taraji, and then got caught as he came in. And
both men battled furiously in the 12th, and Taraji attempted to recreate the late fight stoppage from the Yakui fight.
It's not quite in that scenario here, but it very well could be.
But the energy that Sandoval has shown and the fluency he's having as well has been a revelation, I think.
Right up. 2 titles on the line. Taraji believes that the big finish is there as he lands 2 right hands. Huge right from Taraji. And again, the uppercut as well. A big finish to this. Been an absolute war here in Tokyo. The left hand of Sandoval lands.
In the end, Sandoval scored perhaps the year's biggest upset via split decision. Still, it had been a close fight that demanded a rematch.
What do y'all want? You want a 12-round fight? You want a 6-round fight? Or you want that Hagler Hearns, baby? You want 2 rounds of motherfucking madness?
In early September, Sebastian Fundora and former welterweight Keith Thurman showed up to a press conference to hype up their upcoming junior middleweight title fight. Thurman, who'd only fought twice since 2019, talked a good game.
Because when 2 greats go toe-to-toe, blow for blow, someone's gotta fall down.
But the then 36-year-old looked every bit his age when he took an early trip to the floor. 10-8 to Fundora. Fellow boxers O'Shaquie Foster and Jesus Ramos appeared concerned, though the same couldn't be said of former titleist Stephen Fulton. Thankfully, the often injured Keith Thurman was okay. Ironically, it would be Sebastian Fundora who would have to pull out of the fight due to injury. And Thurman had a very special message for him.
Oh, I had to ask K-Dot, how you feel about Sebastian? You's a bitch! Yeah, you and your daddy a bitch.
Thurman smartly recorded the message while sitting down to avoid any further mishaps. After a long summer, the month of September finally arrived, and with it came the mega fight between super middleweight champions Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Crawford was skipping the middleweight division to challenge Canelo. Neither man had looked spectacular in the last bouts, with Canelo struggling to pin down the runner William School, and Crawford struggling mightily to eke out a decision against Israil Madrimov in 2024. Crawford was up against it. He was going into the fight after a 12-month layoff, and he was 37 years old. Fans speculated about the fight all throughout the summer, but the hype hit a peak when Canelo revealed he'd been sparring welterweight champion Jaron Ennis, a heavily hyped boxer that many had compared to Crawford. Right off the bat, some turned it racial by claiming Ennis, being an Afro-Anglo, shouldn't be helping a Hispanic to beat another Afro-Anglo. Errol would never do that, one person said. Errol is a solid brother. You have to wonder if some of these comments are real, by the way.
It wasn't a good look, and it's not a good look. All those criticism that he's getting online, he deserves it. TF Ennis make a fight with Vergil Ortiz. There is no way on heaven and earth Canelo Alvarez going to go into Boots camp, helping Boots, sparring Boots.
And I don't want to bring race into it or anything, is that they wouldn't help us like that. They wouldn't help us like that. They wouldn't help us like that. There was a top level guy who was a world champion caliber fighter, Latino guy, Mexican guy, to be exact. He likely wouldn't be in Crawford's camp.
Notice how they have to switch up on the fly to world-class boxer and then from Hispanic to Mexican, because they know Lester Martinez is in Crawford's camp and they spar each other. In fact, Martinez sparred Crawford in preparation for the Canelo bout. Also, current middleweight contender Jesus Ramos sparred Crawford, and very few Hispanics raised an issue. But of course, this all started because Bernie the Boxer, a member of Crawford's entourage, derided Ennis for helping Canelo.
And I guess Boots, he had his price. He sold out. That's all I can say.
This was a bizarre claim, seeing as how Ennis and Crawford aren't friends. So why would Ennis be a sellout? The comment only makes sense when framed within the racial context. Hall of Famer Timothy Bradley also provided some perplexing comments.
Boots infiltrated the camp. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Boots, we need a report. We need a report. That's what we need, bruh. Hey, Canelo, they done got jive. Yes, they did. Boots, we need the report ASAP. Big dog, absolutely.
The other big point of contention was the weight issue. Again, Crawford was skipping the middleweight division and going straight to 168 without a tune-up, which is why many picked Canelo to best him. But Crawford had already looked bulked up since early 2025. Fight Week provided further evidence that if indeed there was a size difference, it appeared negligible, as Crawford, who was Canelo's height, had managed to carry the weight. In fact, all the way back to 2018, when Crawford was recently about to move up to 147, he displayed evidence of him weighing over 170 pounds. At the official weigh-in, Crawford looked just as big as Canelo. On Fight Week, Crawford himself would confirm the advantages of no longer having to cut so much weight.
The only thing about this camp different than any other camp is I don't gotta cut muscle.
Even Hall of Famer and Crawford friend Andrew Ward agreed.
He said, you're not moving up in weight, you're just cutting less. But I'm really not moving up in weight. I'm just not having to boil myself down. So even though it is a huge jump, I think we lose sight of the fact of how much he had to boil down and how gaunt he looked at 140.
And Bull Mike McIntyre, Crawford's trainer, corroborated the notion.
He should have been at 68 a long time ago, but you know, myself, make him take advantage of 35, 40, 47.
Without a considerable size advantage for either man, the fight would come down to skills and talent. However, Turki Al-Sheikh, the event's financial benefactor, seemed infatuated with Crawford, which made some wonder whether the fight was on the up and up.
You must Saturday deliver the job.
Moreover, two of the commentators for the broadcast would be the aforementioned Crawford friend Andrew Ward and the man who always agreed with him, Max Kellerman. Would this make any difference? On fight night, it was already midnight on the East Coast by the time the main event arrived, but the organizers were intent on extending the event by playing video montages. Then the fight would be next, right? No, they needed to stage a concert. That's 2 concerts. Surely that was it. No, now the entrances, which became large spectacles unto themselves, further dragged the event on. By the time the first bell rang, it was already past midnight on the East Coast. As expected, Crawford used his considerable reach advantage and footwork to upset Canelo.
As is often the case on this level.
That angle for me, that right mid.
Canelo, for his part, attacked the body.
Get into a rhythm. A puncher, but it all where they necessarily ask to jab, even when he's not. Counter, even though his back is against the wall.
Right,
It was a highly tactical affair, with each landed punch being gold, as both men displayed their defensive abilities.
First could have gone either way, I could see.
Those counters are very
handed for Crawford, good. Chile landed upstairs. And that's the first.
Not here, 1 minute.
Canelo continued landing downstairs, but Crawford was connecting with the cleaner shots upstairs. On top of that, Crawford was supplementing his work with jabs, which prevented Canelo from setting up shop whenever he wanted.
Can Alvarez rally if need be? Right, got off to a big lead against Bivol before the...
Has nailed him, and Canelo is a
much resistance is effective thus far.
In the ninth, things heated up.
Oh, and that's a good early land by Crawford.
This would always say, Canelo is looking to be friends, and Crawford is not.
After the exchange, the older Crawford had to recoup and clinch.
There's Crawford is punching with bad intentions like this.
Canelo pressed in the 10th.
Pinch there by Crawford.
Good right hand from Canelo.
And the older Crawford appeared to feel the pace. But Crawford always summoned energy to reply.
So far, and there's Crawford. Both have beaten the play away from the other. There's an immediate bonded. It's that Crawford's responses have been a little better. From one of those uppercuts on the inside. Time will tell.
Canelo, knowing he was behind, became unhinged when it mattered the most.
He thought he was going to
This has been a masterful performance.
It's the 12th round.
Yeah, but
something big because already the thought he could produce a performance that would earn the respect. Down the stretch we come.
It had been a competitive fight, but Crawford had been the superior fighter, and he walked away as a super middleweight champion. After the bout, some awaited Canelo fans to melt down, the way Deontay Wilder or Errol Spence fans had after their defeats. But unfortunately, most Canelo fans took the loss in stride. What there was plenty of, however, was talk of a rematch and whether the fight deserved one. Many fans and media members had been desperate for a Crawford win, and indeed, many would later resort to hyperbole as they claimed the fight had been one-sided and a whooping for Crawford. In fact, as an email by a viewer stated, a Riyadh symbol that had been etched on Crawford's trunks was placed directly on his bunghole. Was that Turki Al-Sheikh's way of branding Crawford and of letting us know that the corporate phallus had been in full effect? One of the best boxing channels on YouTube, the Exodus Files, quickly dismantled the narratives about the first bout being a one-sided affair. Indeed, rewatching the bout, one noted a highly competitive fight, certainly not as decisive for Crawford as Mayweather or Bevil's had been against Canelo. Moreover, as the Exodus Files pointed out, after the 9th round, Crawford asked Womack if he thought he was ahead on the cards.
How many rounds he up? I don't think he up. But hey, you got to finish strong. You got 9 minutes.
Womack seemed unsure and exhorted him to finish strong. On-stat numbers, which aren't always accurate, also showed a competitive bout. Still, even though the fight was competitive, there was plenty of doubt about whether Canelo could succeed in a rematch. As for Crawford, celebrations were in order, though they took a dangerous twist after the festivities. The night of Crawford's parade, police officers pulled him and his bodyguards over for reckless driving, and then pointed guns at him after seeing a firearm in the vehicle. It would later turn out that Crawford's bodyguards had permits for the weapons, though why a particular firearm was lying on the floor has yet to be explained. But the drama didn't end there for Crawford. Months after the bout, Crawford, perhaps needing attention, headed over to Twitter, where he claimed he could have beaten Manny Pacquiao. That was his opinion, and he was welcome to state it, but so were those who disagreed with him. For some reason, that set Crawford off. He began talking about all the other fighters he could beat. He also made bizarre claims about Canelo being unable to sell well without him, which people quickly debunked. But things got worse a day later, when the WBC organization refused to acknowledge his status as champion after Crawford refused to pay the sanctioning fee. Many fans sided with Crawford, finally waking up to the reality that the alphabet organizations are snakes. However, others point out that Crawford had legitimized them by constantly giving importance to the undisputed in the four-belt era moniker. By proxy, He'd also elevated the once overlooked WBO organization. Now, however, the belts were suddenly irrelevant to him. Either way, it was a good thing that people finally woke up about the sanctioning bodies. Though the fear now is that people will forget all about it in a couple of weeks and continue legitimizing paper belts. As of this recording, Terence Crawford is retired. His reason for doing so, he claimed, is because no matter what he does, he will never receive credit.
What more can I do?
Yeah.
You know, they're not gonna give me the credit anyway.
This was a bizarre claim, considering all the praise he'd received after the Canelo bout. In that same year-end interview, Crawford would confirm that 168 pounds had been his most comfortable weight. One can only wonder what other great fights we could have gotten had Crawford moved up earlier. The bigger question is, will Crawford remain retired? It was quite the year for pound-for-pound Japanese superstar Naoya Inoue, who continued to be one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant, world-class boxer in the world. After defeating Stephen Fulton in 2023, it seemed as if Inoue had run out of competition. But a persistent challenger remained in the form of MJ Akhmadaliev. But first, the Japanese monster would have to get through a series of opponents. In January, he disposed of contender Yi Jun Kim. Shout out to live boxing video on YouTube for the footage. The victory proved a formality for Inoue, but his next bout in May would be anything but. There, Inoue made a special US appearance as he fought Ramon Cardenas. Shout out to BuzzBuzz on YouTube for the footage. The first round and a half was innocuous enough, with both men jabbing, but things took a turn late in the second. For the second year in a row, Inoue had been dropped, and now he wanted payback. Cardenas kept swinging, but Inoue knew his opponent was looking to counter off the guard. After making adjustments, Inoue began to dominate, though Cardenas remained game. By the middle of the fight, Cardenas' high guard began to crumble under Inoue's heavy firepower. Inoue emerged victorious in the 8th round. Some criticize Inoue for having been dropped, but notice he dominated every round thereafter, before scoring the finish. Still, some remained unconvinced about his worth, and on September 14th, mere hours after Crawford vs. Canelo, Inoue wished to stake his pound-for-pound claim by taking on Murodjon Akhmadaliev. Akhmadaliev, aka MJ, was an Olympic bronze medalist who'd secured his position as the #1 super bantamweight contender. Incidentally, for the past 2 years, some had accused Inoue of ducking the wily southpaw. And before the bout, fans pointed out that Inoue had been dropped by Luis Neri and Cardenas' left hands, all of which happened to be MJ's bread and butter. Boxing like he had in the Stephen Fulton bout, Inoue fought in a more reserved fashion, and his skills were on point. Likely down 3-0, MJ stepped it up in the 4th round. Inoue, however, was always there to take the play away. After the 6th round, MJ had pockets of success, but not enough to be winning rounds. Inoue, meanwhile, was too accurate, too elusive, too fast, and just too much of everything for his challenger. MJ finally found some success in the dying moments of the 12th. In the end, Inoue walked away with a wide unanimous decision. MJ's major saving grace was that he had been the rare Inoue opponent to last all 12 rounds. With that, rumors began of a Japanese megafight against fellow pound-for-pounder Junto Nakatani. Nakatani had recently moved up to 122 pounds and had looked every bit as dominant as he had in the lower weights. But first, Inoue had to get past the undefeated Alan Picasso in December. Like Nakatani, Picasso was a tall boxer, and he would serve as great preparation for his Japanese nemesis. Picasso proved a tough foe, but his toughness only earned him a lopsided decision loss, as Inoue outboxed him through long stretches of the fight. As it presently stands, the only way Inoue loses is by freak knockout or by venturing too high to 126 pounds or even still to 130. With 4 dominant wins, Naoya Inoue made a strong case for not only being the fighter of the year, but perhaps even the best boxer in the world. In late October, heavyweight contenders Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley fought for a chance to face the world champion, Alexander Usyk. Parker had been on a good run, with wins over Deontay Wilder, Zhilei Zhang, and Martin Bakole. He also had the Usyk fight secured as a mandatory challenger. Still, he risked it all by fighting Wardley. Wardley, meanwhile, though less experienced, packed a mean punch. He demonstrated that in his last bout against the undefeated Australian Justin Huney. There, Huney had outworked and beat up Wardley before the Brit's power bailed him out in the 10th round. Parker had only been stopped once. That was against Joey Joyce, who'd worn down the New Zealander with suffocating pressure. Other than that, Parker had managed to absorb Anthony Joshua, Dillian Whyte, Wilder, and Zhang's power. But if Wardley connected properly, anything could happen. Parker talked a big game, saying he was gonna punch holes into Wardley. More worrying still, he ended up weighing in heavier than average, at 262.4 pounds. Was the plan to bully the less experienced Wardley? Or was Parker overlooking his younger foe?
Here we go, locking horns with the undefeated power puncher Fabio Wardley. It's a real battle for the gold that lies in wait.
Both men started by jabbing.
First heavy shot, and how will they react? Parker, of course, just the two into the shots.
But soon, Parker established his range. Parker was throwing heavy leather, but Wardley proved dangerous. By the 8th round, Wardley was being competitive, but Parker was surging ahead. The commentators, though, did what they could to credit Wardley for any little thing.
Good rhythm from Wardley.
Good rhythm from Wardley. What does that mean? Good enough to be winning the fight?
And he looks confident here.
And he looks confident here. He looks confident. Is he making a comeback? Is he winning rounds? The guy was getting outboxed and he was clinching. That's great rhythm and real confidence there. Near the end of the 9th round, Parker stunned Wardley. But of course, the commentators chose to focus on something else.
Whatever happens, Fabio Wardley has proved his worth tonight. Yeah, and some, he really has.
Despite the strange commentating, the action managed to heat up.
Which goes to land justice Haney. Oh, great. Parker Patrick. Stab it. This is head of the tail. Rocking and rolling. Oh my word.
In the end, many found the stoppage premature, though Parker's own coach, Andy Lee, seemed ambivalent, calling the stoppage fair, but also stating that his fighter was slipping a lot of the shots. Still, many fans disagreed with him, and derided the stoppage. Meanwhile, the British Boxing Board of Control, which operates out of a house in Wales, backed referee Howard Foster's decision. General Secretary Robert Smith justified the stoppage by claiming Parker had been hurt before during the bout. But by that rationale, Parker had also returned to hurt Wallin multiple times and should have been allowed to continue. It's not like he was defenseless on the ropes, he was defending himself. Robert Smith then called the stoppage bang on, but the only thing that had been screwed over and banged had been Parker's record. In the end, the stoppage became a moot point as Joseph Parker tested positive for cocaine. Wardley, meanwhile, looked forward to fighting Alexander Usyk, but the Ukrainian dropped the belt and said he wasn't interested in a Wardley fight. Wardley was awarded the belt, but Usyk would later say that he would soon be undisputed again had he changed his mind about a Wardley fight. Time will tell. After a career-best win back in February, junior middleweight contender Vergil Ortiz returned to the ring. His opponent was the number 5 junior middleweight in the world, Erickson Lubin. Days before this bout, welterweight champion Jaron Ennis moved up to the division and scored a first-round stoppage over a nondescript opponent. With that memory fresh in everyone's memory, Ortiz needed to impress and set up the mega fight against Ennis that should have taken place at welterweight. His opponent, however, was no slouch. Even in defeat against the skyscraper Fundora, Lubin had almost stopped him before succumbing to his opponent's power. Lubin had scored 3 wins since, and he was confident in his skills, saying, "I know Vergil Ortiz is gonna come with his best, but I think I'm his best opponent. I feel like I'm the best guy he's gonna have ever faced." And Lubin drew confidence from being the underdog.
I'm motivated not just by the poster. The poster don't mean shit to me.
Would Lubin overturn the apple cart? Here's how the fight went down.
And the build-up to this fight was almost as much discussion as Vergil facing Boots maybe next, rather than Vergil facing Lubin. Lubin said, "Listen, I am tired of the disrespect."
Lubin is boxing and boxing behind that jab.
He's gonna have to chip away at Vergil by boxing and using that southpaw stance.
Has the power to do that.
He got knocked out in round 1 by he's already quieting down Vergil. Normally by the first minute, Vergil unleashes on power punches, showing off the strength. Hasn't been giving him that.
In the ring, but this has been...
Lubin was pivoting to it.
Did Lubin? He seems to be content. Jim, what do you think he's thinking? Oh, he's hurt. He's out on his feet. They stopped the fight. Vergil Ortiz.
With that, Ortiz scored a second-round stoppage, and what was surprising was not necessarily the power, but the speed in which he cut the distance and nullified Lubin's movement. After the bout, Jaron Ennis entered the ring.
Show his team, they've been talking all crazy, and I'm gonna back it up, and I'm gonna show the world why I'm the best in the world.
But no one's been talking crazy, bro. Your dad is the first one that said that I was ducking. It's on video.
It don't matter, the time is now. It's that time, let's get this money, and let's make this fight happen.
It does matter, because you said that we're the ones talking. We're not the ones talking.
What didn't matter was the trash talking, as fans would tune in for an Ennis-Ortiz bout for the action. However, fans grew despondent when Ortiz's manager began dictating the shots, asking for $10 million and talking about an Errol Spence fight, a bout against a man who hadn't fought since July 2023. Ortiz also screwed up by mentioning that the Spence fight had been his dream event. Still, he emphasized that the Ennis fight is what he was after.
All it takes is a yes for me. I mean, I already said yes already. I mean, I had already agreed to the fight. It can be pretty soon, you know. I'm thinking realistically, it should be a Cinco de Mayo fight. If I'm being honest, I think that's the most realistic thing right there.
Then, in December 2025, reports surfaced about both teams negotiating for a 2026 bout. Despite the strange title about 6-hour marathon sessions, fans gained hope that perhaps indeed they would be getting the anticipated bout. Still, this is boxing, and many fans aren't holding their breaths. A week later, Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn showed up for a rematch of their April slugfest. The proceedings were tame, at least compared to the first fight's build-up, as there were no trick-or-treat tactics. There was, however, plenty of complaining from Eubank Jr.'s side, as he once again had to abide to a 160-pound weight limit, as well as a 10-pound dehydration clause. Eubank Jr. also accused Hearn of a myriad of sabotage tactics, which included blocking his ambulance after the first fight.
20 minutes. Absolute waffle.
20 minutes.
Waffle. Waffle.
Can you just confirm that you are accusing
Yes, I am
Matchroom? Say it.
You guys
say
blocked me from
Say
getting
it.
out.
Say it.
Hearn, for his part, threatened to sue Eubank Jr. unless he apologized. It's unclear whether he ever did. Eubank Jr. ended up going through with the bout and underwent another grueling weight cut. There were no mishaps this time, as both men made weight and respected the 10-pound dehydration clause. Droves of people filled up the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in hopes of catching another slugfest.
Produce magic. Will the pair of them be able to hold back?
Eubank Jr. began by moving, but Benn appeared sharper.
Bank get in a rhythm for that jab. Body shot from Benn.
In the first fight, it was all over the back leg.
And soon, Eubank Jr. was clinching for dear life. Benn did a good job of avoiding many of Eubank Jr.'s smothering attempts. And his jab was quicker than in the first fight.
The middle of the ring so easily.
He hardly had to do a thing as they danced their way through that fight, but he's going to have to get hold of this.
Clearly, however, Benn was the more energetic fighter.
Conor the first three. Conor Benn is right at it. What is going through his mind?
Eubank Jr. had sporadic success, and it appeared as if he was saving his energy for a late rally. But as each round passed, it became clear that there would be no late fight rally for Eubank Jr., as he spent most of the time running or clinching. And in the final round, Benn put an exclamation point on the fight. After the bout, both men were gracious, and the bad blood dissipated. But Eubank Jr. had insinuated something had been wrong.
I've got to go away and deal with some of the things I've been dealing with over the last couple of months.
And at the post-fight press conference, Eubank Jr. indirectly suggested he hadn't been 100%.
I genuinely thought that regardless of the issues that I've been dealing with, I would be able to go in there and win.
Tomorrow, everyone was going to speculate about what was the issue tonight. Would you like to address that yourself?
No, this is not about me. Yeah, that's not really something I'm talking about right now.
It was annoying to hear him make excuses and then refuse to delve further into them. He even shut down his own promoter, Ben Shalom.
What Chris went through in camp, he won't want to talk about it, but the things I saw, he did incredibly well to get in the ring tonight. He's the reason this has been so big. I know you don't, but I know you don't want.
And after the post-fight press conference, Eubank Jr. would show a video that displayed him lying in a hospital bed. He also attached a statement saying, "I've been dealing with a lot of health issues over the last year. And yeah, it finally caught up to me last month." Fans joked that the video actually showed him being fitted for an apnea mask, or that he was in the middle of a colonoscopy. Yes, Eubank Jr. was a caustic character, but despite his grating personality, you had to wonder how much that 2 dehydration clauses had affected him, considering he was now 36 years old. And it makes you wonder how Benn could be celebrating so cheerfully after beating a compromised opponent. But then again, Eubank Jr. had gone around chasing a welterweight and had accepted the clauses. In the end, it was another example of how greed from both sides can sully the sport. The end of November saw a grudge match between the undefeated welterweight Brian Norman Jr. and former lightweight champion Devin Haney. Haney made a much-needed move to welterweight after hiding down in the lower weight divisions, and the fighter himself once again confirmed this to Norman by pointing out that his welterweight foe was too small. This marked the 5th time Haney had said this to an opponent. Here's a list of the previous ones.
Did you hear that? What did he say?
No, you missed it. Play it again. He said, you're too small. This is the weigh-in between Devin Haney and Vasily Lomachenko. Can you read lips? He said it again. You're too small. You're too small.
Devin Haney saying you're too small if you're reading lips. I don't think
This is the weigh-in between Devin Haney and George Kambosos. Are you reading? He said it again. You're too small. You're too small.
And in the summer, the match became personal. By the way, when will women learn that yelling during a brawl only makes the fighters angrier? Norman Jr. was confident, but it seemed as if he was over-relying on his power.
I know when I carry these
Okay. I do believe that. I do believe that you got power.
I might touch your arm and your ankle go break. Well, I'm finna turn your meniscus.
It sounds good.
You ever had your torn meniscus, brother?
And it ain't gonna happen.
You pep.
What if I put you down?
You can't.
I can't.
Well, you ain't got nothing in them gloves.
Remember this day.
Norman did indeed possess power, but at 24 years old, his resume was thin.
He's really a bummer. I really didn't want to say nothing, but I never even heard of this nigga until 2 years ago.
Came back out of that, knockout of the decade. Now for the knockout of the whole goddamn boxing
people
history.
We don't know. People we don't know.
And they know you.
Proven.
In fact, 2 years earlier, he'd looked horrible against Quinton Randall, an elusive foe who loved to clinch, just like Haney. And in a 2024 bout, Janelson Boca Chica had dropped 10 outboxed him before the bout ended in a no contest. Indeed, on fight night, Haney surprised many by dropping Norman. But that was pretty much all he did, as he spent the majority of the fight landing single shots and then performing the illegal acts of dipping below the waist and clinching. As mentioned in the City Wolf segment, dipping below the waist and clinching is deemed an illegal tactic as per the WBO, WBA, IBA, and the Association of Boxing Commissions. Still, for some reason, a referee once again failed to enforce the rules. In the end, Norman and his team deserve blame for failing to anticipate Haney's stalling tactics. But what is a boxer supposed to do when his opponent hits him and then proceeds to break the rules in order to nullify his foe's offense? This, however, didn't stop Ring Magazine and ESPN from placing Haney in the top 10 pound-for-pound list. Listen to what ESPN had to say about it. Haney defeated the biggest puncher at welterweight with relative ease, and he silenced the naysayers by brilliantly outboxing a fighter with even bigger punching power than Garcia. Yes, apparently landing one punch at a time and breaking the rules constitutes brilliant boxing. To further underscore the sorry state of boxing, the WBC gave Ryan Garcia a shot at their welterweight champion Mario Barrios for 2026. This after Garcia was coming off a loss to Rolando Romero. And so, with this little scheme in place, Haney and Garcia were once again on a collision course for a rematch. A month later, clinching, running, and stalling were put in front of a wider audience as social media star turned boxer Jake Paul continued his quest to prove that he was a legitimate boxer. After a series of duds and mounting criticism over his level of competition, Paul took on a huge risk in the former champion Anthony Joshua, a heavier, taller, and simply better boxer. Paul did what he could, which mostly amounted to running and clinching, or what some boxing fans would term the sweet science. With Paul refusing to engage, Joshua had trouble finding him.
Exactly what he prepared for. And there, rigorous puncher like that fight that he hasn't had before.
Finally, as Paul tired, Joshua was able to drop him numerous times en route to a 6-round stoppage. Paul's stalling tactics underscored several things, chief among them being how running and clinching represent low-talent tactics. I mean, here is an outgunned boxing novice taking on one of the best heavyweights of the era, and he still made things difficult for Joshua simply by refusing to engage and molesting Joshua. Now think what a more seasoned boxer, with many more years behind him to perfect that style, combined with superior conditioning can do. By the way, Paul's extra sweet science seems to have rubbed off on the crowd. If there's one thing boxing fans need to remember, is that clinching, dipping below the waist, and running, aka refusing to engage, are against boxing's rules. And on top of depriving us of a fair boxing match, cheating is also highly boring.
Okay, the fans didn't pay to see this crap, okay?
Headstrong, sturdy, grounded down to earth, earthy, spicy, jerky, ruthless flows just dirty, machinery, murky, lurking from Sweden to Turkey, quirky, gangs just dirty, your dead little flame can't burn me, kill it with a little sound just worthy, feel it, break it down, yeah, let me work it, link up, light up, yeah, like a circuit, tell me, show me how you work it, icy, cold but spicy, drip, drip, drip like an IV. Icy, cold but spicy. Drip, drip, drip like an IV. Icy, cold but spicy. Drip, drip, drip like an IV. Icy, cold but spicy. Drip, drip, drip like an IV. Danger, tell him it's a warning. Say thank you when I wake up in the morning. Active, never been boring. Constantly memory storing. Everything we do, I put it all in. Sorry, but you're umming and you're oring. Turn up, yeah, put a bar in. Yeah, now the energy's soaring. Danger, danger, tell him it's a warning. Icy, cold but spicy. Drip, drip, drip like an IV. Icy, cold but spicy. Drip, drip, drip like an IV. Icy, cold but spicy. Drip, drip, drip like an IV. Icy, cold but spicy. Drip, drip, drip like an IV. Drip, drip, drip like an IV.